Tonight Show. He doesn't do many outside appearances. I think I saw him about 3 years ago. I think he was on with Dick Cabot one night. Did you know he's the star of the very successful Mark and Mindy Show, which is beginning its fourth season on the air, beginning this Thursday. And he's going to be seeing a new film late next spring called The World According to Garth. Did you ever read that book?
Read that book.
Interesting, funny book. Would you welcome Robin Williams? People always think performers don't get nervous.
Not at all, really. I don't. Oh, God. Not really. Not really. Not me. No way.
Is there some reason you don't do? Is it the fact that you get nervous? Do you
Very much so. I suffer from severe dyslexia, too.
Oh.
I was the only child in my block on Halloween to go trick or treat. Look, here comes that young Williams boy again. Better get some fish. Here you go. Say hi to your mom and dad.
Where is home for you, or did you come from a home?
They said all the people in the institution, Tommy. If you haven't taken your medication yet, it's going to be fun.
They're back at 12.
Back at 12, yeah.
No.
Howdy, Mr. Williams. I'm real fine.
Look at this thing. Look, Flipper.
Right now there's a soundman going, what are you doing? Oh, God. I better relax. It's okay, I'm on TV.
Right, just...
You're a nice man. You won't hurt me.
No.
Oh, just 1 second. Okay, thank you. Don't be afraid. It's just the sores went away.
The Simplex 2 is there? One or two.
Real men can stand up to herpes.
The comic genius of Robin Williams on his first appearance on the Johnny Carson show. And, of course, the recent death of comic legend Robin Williams has drawn worldwide attention to depression and other mental health issues. We're joined on the telephone by Sgt.Stephanie Shannon. She is the author of Battling the Storm Within. Sergeant Shannon, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you joining us. We'll talk a little bit about Robin Williams in a second, but I understand that you've had your own battle, some 20 years, in fact, living with undiagnosed PTSD. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm a disabled Gulf War veteran. I served in the first Gulf War, Desert Storm, in 1990, and I experienced what they call military sexual trauma. It's a psychological trauma that affects you in a negative impact, and I did not know that I was clinically depressed. I lived over 20 years, worked as a social worker. I basically was in I would say, denial of my symptoms. I had many symptoms, but it wasn't anything that society normally accepts. The stigma of mental illness and depression often is very negative and not really something that people embrace.
Were you suicidal?
Excuse me?
Were you suicidal at all?
Yes, I was. I was suicidal, very depressed. I was isolated. I didn't have a strong support base, and until I sought help, and it was after 20 years when I crashed. And what I mean by crashed, different people deal with mental health issues in different ways. Like for Robert Williams, we know about his addiction, his open addiction to alcohol. I would say I was a workaholic. I avoided all these things, all this anxiety and fear, things that I was dealing with. I tried to escape from all that pain by working a lot and just being so busy. My doctor took me off on stress leave in 2008. She said, you can't continue to function like this anymore. And after that time, after being off work and really starting to face my fears and anxieties, and I got into treatment, I still am in therapy and different types of treatment to deal with my post-traumatic stress disorder. So yes, it's definitely important that we raise awareness of the tragic situation that just happened with Robin Williams.
Now, given the range of reasons behind some of these depressive states that people fall into, and some of the other mental health issues that abound in our society, is it also likely that it's so difficult to pinpoint the symptoms when, given, again, as I say, the reasons, the root causes can be so varied?
That's true. Well, a lot of times when I shared it with other people, for one, they were not professionals. They weren't able to assess me. They would tell me it's all in my head. or look on the bright side. It was more or less situational. But I knew after about 6 months, they consider a condition that does not go away after 6 months to be chronic and very serious. So yes, I would say that. I thought this maybe be if things would get better, or just if I had more support, or if things could change in my financial situation or whatnot, it would change. But it wasn't. I was chemically depressed. My internal structure was changed, and I really had an imbalance going on there that I needed to address.
I understand that you also lost a close friend to suicide.
Yes, I did. A very close friend that was very supportive to me. He would always reach out, and he would ask me to pray for him, or he would say something, but he didn't share much. And I think what I did was minimize it. I looked at him as a strong person. He presented very strong and healthy and always helping other people. But a lot of times when you're a giver, when you're giving out, when you're helping others, just like Robert Williams, making other people laugh and other people happy, we often forget and neglect ourselves. So yes, I lost my dear friend, and after that, I vowed to never, on my watch, to allow anyone else to go out like that. It's a very difficult thing to process, because I feel maybe if I was more there, if I reached out to him, asked him how he was doing, how can I support him, I believe maybe I would have prolonged his life as possible.
Mm-hmm. Has it been your experience that someone in a depressive state will in fact be in agreement or be willing to share those problems with someone or a friend or a close family member who reaches out to them, or do they generally tend to compartmentalize the issue?
Well, for me, I think it's all in the approach. It's a non-judgmental, critical approach. I had family members tell me things, or they would say things in a very critical, negative way, and it made me close down. I think the significant difference is not judging someone. And so no matter how many times they shut you out or say, I'm fine, because I said that a lot of times, I'm fine, there's nothing wrong with me. That's because I didn't feel safe. I think it's important that we provide an emotional, safe environment for our loved ones, and that whatever they share with us, that it's confidential, because I have shared some things and then it became gossip, rumor mill, and it was embarrassing to admit that I had these feelings and these emotions. Now that I've matured and understand more, it's important that we basically provide safety and consistently care. Sometimes you can get frustrated with a person, say for instance if they're struggling with addiction or whatnot, and why don't you get help? What's wrong with you? Can't you get it together? So when you get into that type of tone and negativity, it'll cause anybody to shut down. So that was more of my challenges, was having a loved one or someone that showed consistently concern without any judgment and criticism. That would have made a significant difference in my recovery.
Here with KW Magazine on FM 98.5 CKWR. We're chatting with former Gulf War vet, Sgt.Stephanie Shannon. She is also the author of Battling the Storm Within. Came across some pretty alarming statistic, and I'm not sure necessarily of the accuracy, but nonetheless quite alarming, that somewhere in the range of about 22 veterans in the United States commit suicide each and every day. Is that something you've come across before?
That's correct. After my research, CNN reported on November 13, 2013, that it was released by the Department of Veterans Affairs that veteran suicide occurs every 65 minutes. And that's 22 veterans a day. It's real. I have a support group here in Michigan where I help veterans. And I have one of my clients, I would say, or brothers in arms. He shot himself in the head. He's 25 years old, and the bullet is still in his head. He's still living. So the issue of veteran suicide is very, very real and very present. And most of the issues, and what I hear of veterans, they're saying they're tired. They're tired of suffering. They're tired of not getting the medical care they need. They're tired of fighting the system just to get the benefits they earned. So it's a lot of frustration. Mm-hmm. When you hit a lot of roadblocks and nothing seems to be changing, that it seems like the only way out, the only way peace is suicide, and that's unfortunate, but that is a reality.
I suspect that to a certain extent, and obviously given the change in the difference in population, nonetheless, some of those statistics would apply here in Canada, and of course, the fact that Canadian veterans and Canadian troops have served worldwide in both peacekeeping missions and otherwise. The situation may be similar here as well. What, in your opinion, needs to change from the point of view of legislation or government involvement, specifically with respect to veterans and depression and PTSD?
I think, well, a lot of our symptoms and issues happen while we're in the military. I was showing these symptoms then, and at the time there was no system or no safe place for me to report it. I did share with some of my leaders about what I was feeling, but quote unquote, the stigma is you're weak. If you report any type of, mental health or anxiety disorder, they have, and I know many people have been discharged because of that and have not been able to receive their benefits. So it's very unfair, but also in the system, balancing the system out by the reality of the fact that these things happen, but providing immediate services and support when it's present. And also after soldiers get out of the military, the transition, helping them with the transition. That's one of the most challenging issues there. I didn't have a transition. I didn't have a seamless transition. I basically just was here and I kept living. And I think it's important that they provide a stronger transition period of time and services immediately put in place. I didn't even know what I was qualified for. So it definitely needs to be changed at that level. Then also in the VA system, the government system, or the medical system, they need to provide timely care. I was suicidal and depressed, and it took me 3 to 4 months just to see a counselor. That's too long.
Absolutely.
And that's the issue. We have long wait times. When we are referred, it takes us so long a period of time to get in. By then, most of us is in a very frustrated and dark place. So there's definitely things that need to be shifted and moved in order for us to see improvement.
You're also the founder of an organization called Steppies Inc. Tell us briefly about that and what it is.
Oh, Steppies Incorporated is a youth development organization I started because I really I like to advocate for other people, I would say, more at risk. And I started the youth development organization to see how I can put in preventative services and allow youth to express their gifts and talents through means such outside of the norm. Most of the programs, it seems like now for the youth, are based upon, tragedy issues, it's after the fact. But this is more of a preventative program to bring light to all the youth gifts and talents and whatnot, and then I'll supply them for a platform. So I've been doing that for years, and I really enjoy that.
Getting back to the Robin Williams tragedy, sometimes it takes a tragedy, sometimes there's a